There is a common pain point with alternative educators of not being able to explain clearly what it is that alternative education is. There's this really prevalent issue throughout, not just alternative education, I would even extend it to more progressive types of traditional education. So what does all of that mean? Well, for those of you who are in the education world, you might know that it means that homeschoolers, unschoolers, specialized schools, vocational schools, alternative programs, all of these, they have a harder time explaining, describing how it works, what the impact is, how it meets standards. It's more of a process because it goes against the status quo, what is normally done. Yesterday, I was at a really great event for coaches put on by Chase Business and their coaching program, their mentoring for business owner program. And I'm there as a coach because I was invited by a learner's mom who works for Chase, and I'm explaining that I am an educator and that, I work with young people as well as adults. It looks like mentoring, it looks like coaching. It's very individualized for each person, and so it can be very different for each person. So there's not really a cookie cutter way that the model works. There's no one size fits all way that the model works. And the moral of the story is a lot of people were confused by that. And this is this is a really hilariously common issue. Just the other day, I was in a meeting with a few other alternative educators who I would say some of them consider themselves Montessori, some of them consider themselves self-directed, some of them are in the homeschool world. So there's like a blend. And we're in this meeting and we're talking, and everybody, all like 6 of the people in this online gathering are agreeing vehemently that it's terribly difficult to tell people who don't know about alternatives to school about alternatives to school. It's really hard. And we all talk about it, and it's difficulty. So I'm just here to vent and observe because I think it's interesting. It makes a lot of sense. It's not actually surprising at all, right? I mean, if something's unfamiliar, then it's unfamiliar. Then it's going to take a little while to get familiar. But yeah, alternative education looks very different. So there's many forms of alternative education. Self-directed education is just one of those myriad, plethora. There's a shit ton of different types of alternative ed, from GEDs, general equivalency diplomas. That's an alternative. Studying to be an electrician or a carpenter, I would put vocational schools under alternative education. Goddard College, rest in peace, because now they're gone, but that I would say was alternative education, and it was sometimes, not always, self-directed. So what is self-directed? Self-directed is when the learner chooses every step of the way. So sometimes people say that they're self-directed, but are they really? maybe they're an alternative model, but they're not necessarily self-directed. Maybe they're Montessori, but they don't actually but they don't actually encourage and facilitate learners choosing every step of their learning process. There may be blocks of time where they have the freedom to choose, but that is within that constraint of like, okay, now we let you. Whereas self-directed education is not like that. It's 100% consent. Everything is the learner chooses every aspect. Yesterday, I was at a really